Nancy, and thank you, Kevin, for a great setup. That's a tough act to follow there. I don't know what we're going to do next week. Good morning, church.
Good morning. Good morning.
I have had the great pleasure of working in the aircraft, submarine, and oil and gas industries with technical management responsibilities for my entire adult life. When things go well, and you do your job, and you take technology seriously and follow safety procedures, the planes keep flying, the submarines keep floating, and the oil wells keep pumping. When you don't do that, bad things happen. But I can say with some authority that nothing other than war, world disasters, and possibly politics has shaped or affected our lives more than technology has. The rate of change of technology, especially in communications, which I'm going to address today, continues to increase at an ever-rapid rate. Further, we at First Church are affected both personally and as a congregation by these trends. A couple of definitions of technology are the application of scientific knowledge or practical purposes, especially in industry, and the branch of knowledge dealing with engineering or applied sciences. I have some memories of technology from my childhood, and I'm sure you have similar ones, but I'll just run through them really quickly. Dialing the operator to make a local phone call. Later, waiting for the neighbor lady to end her call on the party line so I could make my call. Having all of 3 TV channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Adjusting the rabbit ears on that TV to make it come in clear, and putting tinfoil on the end of the antenna so we could get an even better picture. Putting a quarter in the jukebox at the local diner. Watching movies at the drive-in theater. Having to push the reel mower, spelled R-E-E-L, instead of riding the power lawnmower. Answering questions using the family encyclopedia. Planning a family vacation with a visit to AAA first, and getting to our destination with Rand McNally as our passenger. My conclusion is that technology has made our lives easier, faster, and more complicated, but at a price. To appreciate the rate of technology change, I want to go through a time warp here, and I'll do this quickly, but I found this information on Wikipedia, and it's really interesting if you pay close attention. In 30,000 BC, the first lunar calendar was created. In 3500 BC, the Egyptians developed hieroglyphic writing. In 1600 BC, the Phoenicians developed an alphabet. We went all the way to 105 AD before paper was invented. In 1450, Johann Gutenberg finished the printing press with movable type. In 1792, Claude Chappie establishes the first long-distance telephone line. Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Watson exhibited an electric telephone in 1876, in Boston of all places. In 1920, radio station KDKA in Pittsburgh presents the first radio broadcast. In 1947, full commercial television is first broadcast. In 1965, first email sent from MIT. In 1976, the personal computer market was launched. In 1983, Microsoft Word software is released, and in 1992, Neil Papworth sends the first text message. He didn't know what the heck he was starting. In 2004, and this goes fast now, Facebook was launched. In 2005, YouTube. 2006, Twitter. 2007, the iPhone was introduced. And in 2010, Instagram was launched. I'm sure many of you have had this experience, and I remember it a couple of times. You save your money, you get all excited about buying a new device, a phone, a computer, a camera. Save your money, you go out of the store, you plunk your money down, you bring it home, you start using it, and 3 weeks later the next model comes out. Happens all the time, and it's going to happen more too. Technology has turned some companies into extremely wealthy and profitable, and they've capitalized on some things. I'm going to talk quickly about 3 companies. Apple Computers, the first. It was formed in 1976 in California by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne to market the Apple I personal computer. The current products include the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, the Mac PC, the Apple Watch. Anybody have an iPhone in this room? Half of you anyway. Apple survived Steve Jobs' resignation, health issues, and eventual death in 2011. They are the world's largest information technology company, and they have tremendous brand loyalty. Now, I talked to Bevan about this a couple of weeks ago, and he said at Timberland, brand loyalty is king. If you've got that, you're going to be successful. Without it, you're not. So, and Sue Richards, she says people wait all year to come to the pumpkin patch. They come from around the world to come to the pumpkin patch, but they save their pennies and dimes and nickels and they buy from us. So we've established brand loyalty too. With Apple, there's more than 1.3 billion products currently in use, and in August 2018, they became the first public company, U.S. company, with a value of $1 trillion. Google is another one. They're the internet search giant. They were founded in 1998 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They were PhD students at Stanford University at the time. Online services include Google Search, there's a theme here, Google Maps, Google Photos, Google Earth, Google Chrome, YouTube Blogger, and the Google Pixel smartphone was introduced in 2016. They're the most visited website in the world with 3.5 billion searches conducted every single day. Google is now valued only at $800 million. Facebook, launched by Mark Zuckerberg and 4 roommates at Harvard. A lot of these college kids had time on their hands here. They went public in 2012, valued at $104 billion. The largest valuation ever by a newly public listed company. Majority of their incomes comes from ads that appear on the screen. More than 2.2 billion active users use Facebook. Folks, that's 28% of the world's population. If you consider how much of the world is underdeveloped, that's just about everybody that isn't living in the jungle somewhere. They have become the standard for messaging, photo sharing, friending, and communicating with family and long-lost friends. However, they've also come under fire recently for scrutiny with their privacy issues and psychological effects on their users. There are 2 billion Facebook entries per day, and after going public only 5 years ago, they're valued at $500 billion. So, that's a lot of success, a lot of money, a lot of great things happening, but there's a flip side of all this. There's a cost for this technology. And I see that most of this, I guess is my opinion here now, but as a society we're struggling more and more to do the normal things we do socially because of all this technology and the fact that we're too busy paying attention to it. But in my opinion, we've lost social skills, manners, respect, loss of the ability to communicate effectively and with confidence with other people. We've lost the proper use of the English language. We've lost the public speaking skills. I was driving to work the other day and I heard a local story on a Manchester station that said there was a move afoot to cancel high school public speaking classes. It made the students uncomfortable. Well, how are we supposed to prepare for life after school, for business, for job interviews, for just professionalism without public speaking? Anyway, I don't know if it went through or not, but I just heard it and I couldn't believe it. Some other things we don't do well anymore. Learning to tell time. Entertaining children with electronic gadgets rather than crayons, coloring books, or puzzles. No one goes outside anymore. They play video games, and they have replaced baseball, basketball, hide and seek, and kick the can. Letting your own family experiences pass you by while watching others' lives on Facebook. I had 3 other examples that might mean something to you. The first one's a little edgy, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Boston's ace pitcher, David Price, missed a start against the New York Yankees in May. They took him out of the lineup. He wasn't right, and he wasn't going to pitch that night. Turns out he had carpal tunnel symptoms from playing a video game called Fortnite. So he missed his start because of that, and I don't know if it's all true, but that's what I read. The Red Sox investment in David Price, $217 million. He did win a postseason game for the first time, though, the other night. So, my second example is an airport. Bevan, you don't like to fly, but I'm going to go through this anyway. How many have been in an airport in the last year, say, or will soon? Most of you. Okay. I was thinking about this the other day. First of all, I challenge you to enter an airport and not find somebody either on their computer or their phone. They're constantly searching and moving around. But if you stop and think about it, every single person in the airport wants to be somewhere else by design. They're passing through. They're not supposed to be where they are. So they're always calling ahead, looking for an earlier flight, telling their family they miss them, telling their family they're coming home, calling ahead to their vacation location, doing all kinds of things. But airports are unique places for sure. My third example, and this is really something I've seen a couple of times, and it's a little different, but a couple, a guy and a girl, they're sitting in a coffee shop, we'll say, breaking new grounds down in Portsmouth. They're sitting 3 feet apart at the same table. They might be even playing footsie under the table, I don't know. But they're not talking. They're on their phones are going crazy. Please tell me they're not texting each other. I mentioned the technology winners. There have also been some losers along the way. Just a few of those. The proverbial buggy whip manufacturer, the blacksmith, the guy that makes wind-up clocks and wristwatches. Payphones and phone booths are no longer around. Phone books, dictionaries, encyclopedias, that took care of Webster's and World Book for sure. Folding maps aren't used anymore. We used to pick them up at the gas station. The road atlas, I mentioned Rand McNally earlier. Photographic film, who thought that would ever go away? Kodak sure didn't. Film and instant cameras, they were a big thing for a while. Polaroid did a good job of making them for a while. Typewriters from Royal. Telegrams, pagers and beepers, dial-up modems, vinyl records, 8-track and cassette tapes, slide rules and calculators, BlackBerry. Record stores, movie rental stores. Remember Blockbuster? Newspapers, magazines, and just about anything printed. I know a lot of newspapers are struggling. Magazines aren't what they used to be. So that's the price we're paying now for all of this technology, and there will be more casualties along the way. Let's bring this back to First Church for a bit. How are we communicating with the community, with our own church membership and our congregation? We have a great bulletin every week. Fantastic. It's colorful. It's informative. It tells you everything you need to know about the church. It's in full color. It's 8 pages. I remember when it used to be 4 pages in black and white. The Beacon is just as good. If you read the Beacon cover to cover, you should know what's going on in the church and also what's going to happen during the next week. The narthex at Sanborn Hall is a welcome screen. It's got bulletin boards with all the community information on it. All the reports from the different committees are there. There's a lot of information there, and it keeps changing. In the sanctuary, we have the screen with announcements, current events, future activities, photo galleries from different events. And during worship, we show enough so that you don't even have to pick up a book anymore. But Reverend Deb loves it because you're looking up at her instead of down in a book. So it's a good thing. It's going to get better. We've got grants in for a couple of big screens. We were unsuccessful with our first grant, but we're going to try it again until we get those and put them in place. We also have a great sound system. Thank you, Sue. She watches over that every week, and hopefully you can hear what's said, but it's way better than it used to be. We have a great website. Various people keep that up. It's got Reverend Deb's welcome. It's got all the things that you need to know about the church, including a history that Evan and Lux put together. We've got current event calendars. We've got a history of the church. We've got last week's bulletin. We've got beacons for the last 6 months or so, photo galleries, etc. We also, as committees, use the email very well. We have invitations for different meetings. We can send notes around. And we also send out prayer concerns and community information. And Bevan did a great sermon earlier this year on Bring Your Own Device Day. Thank you, Bevan. The challenges at First Church include loss of personal contact with those not online, and feeling left out if you're not electronically connected. We need to do something about that. According to a recent church survey, we can't give you guys enough information, and we're trying to solve that through beacon articles and updates and financial things like that. So my key message is, please read the bulletin. Please read the screen before the worship starts. Please read the beacon. Check the bulletin boards and displays. Take time before and after worship to talk to one another. Ask questions. If you have a question about something that you're not sure of, either financial or otherwise, please ask. I mean, there are committee members that are just dying to tell you what's going on in their area. Pass on email messages to those that don't get them. Take care of members that you know are either shut in, they're recuperating, they're sick, they've been traveling, they're on vacation. Share the things that you know that they've missed while they were gone. There's also a tablet available to pass around, and you can take that to a nursing home and get all of these things to share with anybody. So I'll leave you with two parting thoughts. What is important is the advantage or benefit provided by the technology, not the technology itself. And secondly, and more importantly, in spite of the many offerings of technology, the personal relationships with people is ultimately the only way to make disciples and to build the church. Amen.
Amen.